did you have a topic for this week?
I do actually, but I don't know. I tried to contact Karen and I haven't heard back from her. And I want to have like somebody besides two. There's the two of us that are actually Americans discussing it. But the title is Alienable Rights. What did I put with that? Alienable Rights, a true American horror story. And the people are going to think of it as being about immigrants, but alienable means it can be transferred or sold. And it's basically a response to Biden saying that no amendment to the Constitution is absolute, because by virtue of being ratified, the amendments are actually part of the Constitution. So he just basically said the Constitution is not absolute. And since it's the framework for our federal laws, they can't be absolute either. And there go his limitations on his war powers. So I thought we should definitely not just be me and Lauren talking about it. I wanted to get one of the Canadians in talking about it too, because you guys would be next door to a crazy ass old man with no limitations.
Oh boy. So we were talking about potential resurgence of hostilities between Canada and the U.S. That'll be interesting.
Well, what we'd be talking about is, what do you do in a situation where you have, because he's just declared himself king, essentially. I don't think people realize that. But if the Constitution is meaningless, if the amendments are meaningless and the Constitution's meaningless, if the Constitution's meaningless and the laws are meaningless, and if the laws are meaningless and he can do anything you want by executive order, and nobody stops him, he can do anything that is physically possible that he wants to do by executive order.
That's actually worse than being a king, because there are kings who are constitutional monarchs.
Yeah.
So they are limited by the constitutions of their country. Sounds like what limits him then?
Well, at this point, he'd have to piss off his own party for them, and then get rid of him to change things.
Okay, so let me ask you a more appropriate question. What limits his presumptive party? And I don't actually think that his presumptive party is necessarily the Democrats. It sounds like now the only thing that is the real group in power is the deep state.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing. The potential limits for his presumptive party are if a majority of the military decides that they're doing wrong and need to be stopped, if fair elections can be restored and they get voted out of office, or if the election genuinely was fair and all of the evidence that was brought forth of a fake election was actually fake evidence, and he can be replaced by like somebody from a different party, and they can vote out part of Congress that's been in there for a long time, a lot of the incumbents. So there are potential solutions to this, but
well, I guess most of these solutions depend on if the electoral process is fair.
It's actually is verified, and if it works.
Which apparently is basically conspiracy talk if people want to actually confirm if their electoral process is still valid.
Yeah. So
okay.
Basically it's and of course the obvious reasons why this is a men's issue is because when the shit hits the fan, the first people to get cut by the fan blades are men, and the people whose job it is to stop the shit from flying everywhere is usually mostly men. And then the people who have to clean up afterwards, almost entirely men. And there are consequences to women, but the most direct and immediate consequences always hit men. So it's in men's interest to keep an eye on this and basically, decide what they feel needs to be done about it and take what action they legally can. Make sure that they're voting, make sure that they're talking to people, make sure that they're not just letting this, slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Since we could use an intro for the Thursday show, we'll just use this.
Okay.
Okay, so if you'd like to hear more, the link is in the low bar and to, I believe, your left or right. Well, somewhere. It's the eye. It's floating somewhere there. Click it. And thanks for your kind attention.